I've always thought that the PC side of Battlefield games has always seemed to have a little bit of an advantage over the guys who are playing on console. And in terms of development of Battlefield 4 right now, I don't think that could be any more true. I think the PC guys are getting a much better deal, simply because Premium gives you access to the CTE, the Community Test Environment, where you, as the player who plays Battlefield 4 all the time, has the opportunity to try and influence some of the decisions that are made by the development team for the future of the game and trying to make the overall experience as good as it could be. And I think right now on PC, you can only have access to CTE on that platform, which leaves the guys who have Premium on console a little bit left out, I think. Recently, there has been a small workaround for the guys who own Premium. If you're playing on a console, you do have access to CTE now. You can log in on PC Battlelog and have access to all the servers and all of the forums that come with the community test environment, but the caveat is that you need a PC that's capable of able to be running the game so that you can actually experience CTE, which is kind of counterproductive, but it was put in place simply because, like I said, they're getting a little bit of a raw deal because you need Premium to access CTE. So I can see their thinking there, but it wasn't the greatest solution in the world. But that's where the change is coming. In a few weeks' time, well, I probably shouldn't put a time limit on this, but some point in the future, CTE, the Community Test Environment, will be coming to consoles. That includes, as far as we know right now, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, and the Xbox One. Now that's some really great news, because, as I've said, we're now going to be all on a level playing field, and it means that the guys on console can also contribute to the future of Battlefield 4, playing on those servers, allowing the developers to collect the data that they need to make some really serious decisions about where they want to go with the game, and overall, I think that's a really good thing. Firstly, console players will probably play a little bit differently to how a PC player might play. Obviously the controls are different, and the way that you might actually put that into the game, the way you move, if you're going from cover to cover, because you're using different controls, might mean that you do it a different way. I know that on the last generation of consoles, for example, you are limited in terms of how many players you can have on a map at any one time, and therefore that gives a really great example of where consoles are going to be playing a big part in the community test environment's future. When you've only got 12v12 on a large map, you want to know how that's going to work, and if you can put that into a test environment before you put it out into the main game, that could be really invaluable. The information was recently confirmed by David Serland when he went to the ESL 1 tournament, which was like an esports tournament centered around Battlefield, and he confirmed it there. And he also gave a little bit of reasoning as to why it's taken so long for the CTE to make its way across to the consoles. And the reason is Microsoft and Sony and their certification process. The reason the CTE came to PC before anything else is because EA own the Origin client, and therefore they own all the servers that operate on that client, and they can put up on the store whatever they like, which meant they could put the CTE straight onto Origin. If you're a premium player, you had access to download it, and then you can receive any update you like in the future for any changes that are made in that build. It's not as simple as that when it comes to console, because EA don't own the environment. Microsoft own the Xbox Live Marketplace, and Sony own the PlayStation Store, and they are the ones who get to decide what does and doesn't go into their certain stores. You'll probably be familiar with this setup because DLCs for Battlefield 4 and pretty much any other game that is available on a console has to go through this same certification process, and it's there in place to make sure that when an update goes out to players of that game that it doesn't break the system, because obviously a console is a closed system. They all have the same processor, the same RAM, has to be heavily optimized to make sure it works with that system. So that's why this process is in place, and that's why the CTE has been held up. Don't forget, the CTE is specifically in place to test Battlefield 4, so the fact that it's got a few bugs in it might be a little bit noticeable and maybe why it's taken so long. But finally, you are going to be having access to the community test environment in the future if you're on a console. But that's about it for today, guys, so thanks very much for watching. I just wanted to keep you updated with what I thought was a really cool bit of info. Everyone, including console users, is now going to have the opportunity to have input into Battlefield 4 in the future, and I think that's great. If you enjoyed today's video, if you could leave a like, that would be great, and leave some comments too. I do try and read as many as I can. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.